welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more His Dark Materials. We're on Season 2, Episode 2. It just aired. Full spoilers, though, if you have not seen it. We're going to be talking about everything. I want to thank everybody that chooses to watch this. I want to thank all the new members of the audience that were not here last season. I want to thank all the people returning to watch these the new season's reviews that were watching last season. And that being said, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the like button if you like what you see here. And yeah, let's get right into it. So this is called The Cave. One thing though that I wanted to mention that I didn't talk about last week, and it's not a plot point, it's more of a character point, and that's Will. I didn't spend enough time really talking about Will, but his character, played by, let's see, where is he? Amir Wilson. One of the things I really liked about his character and how he dealt with Lyra was, what was so on point, was how he is so used to being a caregiver and taking care of people. And in a lot of shows, I find a lot of younger characters really annoying. But we got lucky here to have both Daphne Keane and Amir Wilson here. Just really solid actors, but also just really good characters. Lyra, of course, has, comes from this world where there's demons and polar bears with armor and magic. And Amir comes from our world, and it's boring as fuck. There's nothing like, we have phones, we have technology, they have magic. And I guess technology is some kind of, would some people that would see it, like if you brought somebody back from the 1400s and showed them that, they'd think that was magic if you showed them your phone. But Will's character being like how he had to take care of his mom after his father's apparent death, after he had gone missing, he just jumps right into taking care of Lyra like that. And I really, really dug that about his character, and I didn't bring that up last time, because it goes into this as well. Because as we're jumping right into going to his world to help Lyra go to Oxford, find Jordan College, find the answers about dust that she wants. And the thing is, she goes looking for the thing that she wants, but finds out what she really needs. Still, despite what happens. And, telling her, she wants to go over there like it's a big adventure, like she's been having already. And so she's got the blanket. Actually, it's more like a throw rug, right? That's like wrapped around her like a sarap, to be like cool, like she wants to be a, I don't know, like a heroine, like a superhero kind of. A Nancy Drew, a Pippi Longstocking. She's very adventurous and fun, and she's ready to get into it. She's got the sombrero. She doesn't know what she's getting into, and he's trying to prep her for that. Coming over to our world, you can look like a regular girl. You can act weird too. Believe me, the way she acts, there's a lot more stranger people in this world than she is. But the Damon, that's the different story. And so they had to, put him in the bag, and, I like his reaction to it. They don't really understand what they're getting into. So much so that when she goes over there, I mean, she rushes ahead. She's so curious. She's so excited to see what another world looks like that she immediately is hit by a car. Not like hard, we saw she's kind of bounced off it. And that's just the beginning of this episode. And this episode, in the end, we get a lot of jumps. We get a lot of information. We don't have to wait like 2 or 3 episodes to find things out. I love the pace of this. Now, I was told that this season was cut by an episode, so there's only 7 episodes, and that was probably due to quarantine and COVID-19. It's the gift that keeps on giving. But this episode, it gives us a lot of good stuff with Will. It gives us a lot of good stuff with Lyra. It gives us some interesting stuff with Mrs. Coulter and the magisterium as well. A little bit of Boreal. and a little bit more understanding of the witches and what that the whole process that the magisterium's been doing, cutting people's demons and removing their souls, and finding out that the witches have their own kind of thing. And again, it feels like the religious aspects of this world, kind of like in ours, has always got to have its big toe in everything. Control, power, fear. It's messed up. But this is another really solid episode that just, when it was over, I really wanted it to keep going. Again, solid acting, solid writing. Everybody in this is fantastic, and it just keeps getting better. And what I like about this season so far is, over the first season, right, we are introduced to all the people, places, things, and still having this story about, finding the missing kids and what is the magisterium about. It's a lot of world building, a lot of character development, but because we're in the more magical world, uh, it really exciting too. And I was worried that when we switched over to spend a lot of time in our world, that it would start to just be kind of boring. Not unfortunately. Fortunately for us, we do get a really strong storyline with Lyra here and Will to make this more interesting. But we're also intercut with the story of the Magisterium versus the witches and Mrs. Coulter's role in that. And so we get to when Lyra gets through the window, gets bumped by the car. I mean, immediately there's Boreal just sitting there clocking the window. It's just like, as soon as they got there, I was just like, oh my god, they're already on him. But I like that too, because then we're not playing that game where it could be like, where are the kids? Like, they're clipping things along fast. And we also find out that just because there's a Jordan College over in her world doesn't mean that there's a Jordan College in our world, and there isn't. And I'm also wondering if I should even call it our world, because, there being so many of them. This is a world that's more like ours, at least. Um, and I'm saying that because I haven't read the books. Um, but it also got me thinking about other things, like if there's a Will in this world, is there a Will in her world, and vice versa? Is there a Lyra somewhere? Is there a Mrs. Coulter? Well, there was, but I'm just saying, what if there are different versions of people in both worlds? That's one thing I was wondering. Um, Also, like the comparison to phones that we have now, smartphones with the alethiometer, that it's a thing that I can call people on, and I can see stuff. And she's like, yeah, I kind of have that same thing, but better. I like that she's got that little bit of competition in her, that she's always got to try to one up. Like, it's like when people say, like, it's typical kid stuff, that to try to one up somebody else, like, oh, that's great, but I have something better. It's really funny. Um, but she makes the mistake of telling her that the alethiometer was like, told me you're a murderer. And that she needs to find a mountain with a door, focus on Will, and that's when Boreal shows up in the museum. And man, that museum, oh boy, I want to visit that place. Um, where they play a little game of lies. He's calling himself, what was it, Charlie or something, and she's Lizzie. And that, hey, if you ever want to know anything about stuff, like, come hit me up. And it's just, I love that he knows she's lying. She doesn't know he is who he is, but she's lying anyway. I love those kind of scenes that when they're done well. A lot of times it's not done well, and this one is, because he could just take her. It was a lot of tension in this scene, because if he wanted to, he could just take her. She's not from our world, but neither is he, I guess. But he probably just doesn't want all the attention that it would draw. Now in her world, we've got to deal with the cardinal's funeral, where the guy and Mrs. Coulter, the guy, um, the bald priest, whatever he is, he and her conspired. He did nothing to help the cardinal. He dies. He takes this time, and again, this whole sequence makes me think of the Senate stuff in the prequels, the Star Wars prequels, where Palpatine, takes control of the Senate. It had that very big feel that talking to all these people and pronouncing what needs to be done, and it's just I'm not a religious person. I'm very anti-organized religion. And for some reason, I am always drawn to shows that have like a heavily religious, section of it. And it's not to like mock it. It's just something that I just am fascinated by. And seeing these guys just, I mean, I never experienced anything like this in my religious upbringing, but these guys, I'll tell you. Um, the only thing that we have really here with the witches this week is their crossroads, trying to decide whether we got Seraphina who wants to help Lyra. You got the other one who wants that killed the cardinal, who wants to go after the magisterium. And in this case, I kind of think that they really should have gone after the magisterium because of what happens at the end. Um, but we get the answer, at least Lyra starts to get her answers about dust, um, from the person that she finds. This scholar who's working on dark materials or dark matter. Her name is Mary Malone, and she's a physicist. And what I love about this scene is she's been told that she can't lie to the scholar, so she just lays it all out there, like pretty much nonsense to a lay, to anybody listening. You would think she's crazy. Even the lady is like, "Do you need help? Is there anyone I can call? Because you are in distress right now." But once she finally calms down and starts speaking slowly and picking her words a little more carefully and comes to talking about dust and about Roger, and they start asking each other questions, and it gets to what is the dust here. Dust is, she's looking into black, dark matter, which is these shadow particles, and she wants to learn about that. I also like the term that they used for dust, which was Razakov particles, and that she describes what was happening, that she started testing things, and at one point she was able to, like, what she thinks is communicate with it, like it was talking to her, like it had consciousness. And it wasn't until she hooks Lyra up to it, after she has her little Q&A with the alethiometer telling her that she used to be a nun, she doesn't believe in it anymore. Just starts breaking things down for her one at a time, really blowing this lady's mind, pretty much like this. Yeah, so she blew that lady's mind. It was just all these things that this girl, like almost like a psychic, but like with a machine that tells her the information. And once she hooks Lyra up to the machine, this thing just starts talking right away. It's like she literally walks in the door and answers, gives her so many like potential breakthroughs for this research she's been doing for so long. Walks this girl off the street that suddenly is communicating with this thing, and how it's talking to her. And it starts speaking in the alethiometer language. And that's when she realizes she's late to get well, and then she bolts out of there. And it is like, that would be one of the trippiest things anybody would ever have to say. I mean, I like the scene later when she's having drinks with her friend saying, Jesus, what the hell was that? That girl just came in here. She's coming back. We've got to get her back into this machine so that we can start, talking more about this. Meanwhile, the doctor from season one who helped Lyra find Yorick, he's a prisoner now, and he's trying there to say that he's an envoy for the witches, trying to say we were trying to broker peace because the witch who killed the cardinal wasn't, she was acting on her own. But this gives the magisterium the chance to, call him a blasphemer, call him a traitor, put him in jail for 8 years. But what we do get in here was to talk about the rituals. The rituals being that the witches know of a way of separating your demon so that without removing the soul. And then we find out that that's what the magisterium was doing, was trying to cut people from their demons to get rid of them. Like, they're all trying to find out, they blaming dust and original sin and things like that. And it's just so weird. And it's like a feeling of when they talk about like what the witches are doing, like this ritual, this evil thing, it's really jealousy. And they want in, but the witches won't give it to them. And so what is their response? And that's one of the things that's hard for me to, when I watch this show, is again, we got these, and they're a bunch of white guys, mostly a bunch of white guys who will do anything to keep power, to anything to keep status quo, to keep everything in line with the way that they think, even if they don't even really necessarily believe it. They have to believe what they believe to keep power, to keep control. And it's just I'm so tired of that. Not to say it so calmly, but isn't everybody else tired of this? Isn't everybody else just tired of being controlled by these people who will not let us make forward progress into the future? Anybody that tries to, question things is immediately, like I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but it's very contentious with me watching these people who always and will probably always exist in some fashion that hold us all back so that they can have power over us, and they get people to believe things. Anyway, so Will goes and visits his grandparents after trying to get the money from the solicitor, which is a lawyer in the UK. For you Americans who want to know why they're called solicitors, he finds out that he's got these long lost grandparents lived in Oxford. It's his dad's parents. He goes there to try to get them to release the money to his mother because they're in they need it. They really they gotta they're not it's not cutting it. His mother is in desperate need. But we find out that the grandfather's a snitch. And they're just keeping him there so that they can come and take him. And Will books it. Again, smart kid. He knew he was in danger coming here, and he books it out of there to meet up with Lyra. And he's in distress. His whole world, like, he didn't want to come here in the first place. But, he needed to check on his mom. And now he really does feel like he has nothing. And at least Lyra here, uses the alethiometer to answer Will's questions about his dad and that he's alive and that they have to find him. The alethiometer also had an important thing when she was hooked up to the computer talking to Mary Malone about how she's important and she's going to need that Chinese box where she's going. So I'm thinking that she's probably headed towards that mountain with the door on it eventually. And then, of course, the end of this episode. There was a great moment where one of the magisterium guys says to the Dr. Martin, what kind of mother, abandons their kid. And boy, you could see Mrs. Coulter's whole body clench up to that whole line of questioning, making her feel guilty and think about what she's done. And the whole thing, how it's like they gave her to the father, they gave the child to the father, and it was, she's thinking about Azrael and all the things. And when she's questioning Thorold later and finds out that she went through after Azrael, now she knows where she is, she's even more fearful because she finds out that, and we find out for sure, that Azrael was going to cut Lyra if Roger hadn't shown up. Azrael, what a fucking piece of shit. But now she knows, and she's, we get this whole kind of Godfather ending where amidst this like secret vote where they're getting ready to sign, they've signed this declaration of to cleanse the witches. We see this secret vote to like let the new, head of the authority rise to power as uh, the magisterium's airships bomb the witches' island. And the only thing I was thinking about that was the witches standing there going like, and I'm thinking, well, last time you guys, you could fly, and it didn't stop one of you from going under that, was it the submarine, and then killing all those guys. Why are you sticking around? Why are you standing around when your island's getting bombed out? But I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't know what it is, other than I guess there's a chance that they could die if they went up there. But also, like, wouldn't they have known that they were coming? These witches seem to be pretty savvy. I don't know, but that's just me. So that's the end of episode 2. Mrs. Coulter, tells old dude where to shove it now that he's got his power, and she's gonna go take whatever she wants, and he's gonna let her do it. Um, and that was just the end of the episode, and I really, really dig it. I like the difference between this and season 1 already, even though we've only got 5 episodes left. Basically, next week is practically the halfway point. It's going to be like 3.5. So anyway, I can't wait to see where we're going. Next week's trailer was insane. We've got, gosh, now I forgot his name. Lin-Manuel Miranda's character. Captured by Mrs. Coulter. You've got Lyra and Will going to see Boreal, not knowing that he's who he is. It's going to be a nuts episode 3. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe to the bell for all notifications. If you feel so inclined to donate to the channel, you can go to my PayPal at paypal.me/smirkinggunreviews, where we're trying to pay for this new gaming laptop that'll make the videos in 1080p and my editing software capable of doing videos that are much cleaner. And yeah, I know people had said that my audio, the picture's not bad, but the audio is. It's because a lot of people watch it on their phones, and I don't. I use this kind of mic, and I probably should get a lapel mic, but I used to have one of those. So the audio, is always going to be that way, especially if you watch it on your phone. I don't think that the new laptop is going to change that any. And I think that if I got a different microphone, and I'm rambling now, the kind that I would put right here, I would need a better setup. And that's a whole other ball of wax we're talking about. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for choosing to watch this if you got this far. We will be back next Monday for episode 3. Otherwise, you can catch me on Old Shield New Reviews on Wednesday. We got Agent Carter Season 1, Episodes 3 and 4 we're talking about with Corey Shoemaker. Friday, we should be doing a new Boba Fett reviews of The Mandalorian. And then on D's Reviews, I'm over on Saturday nights doing The Fandalorians. So, got a lot going on the channel, and then also on Twitch, you can see me playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla at Smirking Gun Plays, or on YouTube, doing the same thing at Smirking Gun Plays. So, a lot of stuff going on. Otherwise, have a great day, and we'll see you next week.